Today, we delve into some of the most chilling folklore legends of New Brunswick, Canada. Sit back, relax, enjoy the 4K scenery, and get ready for goosebumps. Welcome to Wander, Explore, Repeat. Our world has so many things to see and do, and I'd like to show you some of them. I'm Daniel Jones, and I'll be your tour guide on today's adventure. With an increase in paranormal investigative travel, the region we study today is New Brunswick, Canada. Here are the top 5 haunted locations in the province that have consistently piqued the interest of paranormal investigators and scared the crap out of unsuspecting individuals. We begin on the south coast of New Brunswick, in the town of Alma as number 5. In the heart of New Brunswick's folklore lies a haunting tale known as 3 Notes on a Fiddle, a story that blends music, mystery, and a chilling premonition. It's set in the 1930s, deep in the woods near Alma, where a group of lumberjacks gathered for a night of cards and camaraderie. Among them was a skilled fiddle player who had been entertaining the crew with lively tunes. As the evening wound down and the men prepared for sleep, something eerie happened. 3 distinct notes, high, low, high, rang out from the untouched fiddle resting in its case. The sound startled everyone. These weren't random vibrations or accidental plucks. The notes were clear, deliberate, and unmistakably ominous. The lumberjacks, seasoned men familiar with the region's oral traditions, immediately recognized the phenomenon as a forerunner, a supernatural sign foretelling doom. In maritime folklore, forerunners are considered premonitions, often inherited from Irish and Scottish ancestry, and they almost always signal death or disaster. The next morning, under a sky heavy with clouds, the crew ventured into the forest to begin their day's work. Despite distant thunder, they pressed on. One of the tasks involved felling a large tree, which required a logger to climb and clear branches. As he worked, lightning struck the tree, sending it crashing down. Tragically, the man was crushed beneath its weight, just as the fiddle's ghostly notes had warned. This tale has endured not just because of its eerie twist, but because it taps into a deeper cultural belief system. In New Brunswick, especially among rural communities, the idea of forerunners is still embraced. These signs, whether sounds, visions, or unexplained sensations, are seen as spiritual warnings. The fiddle's 3 notes weren't just spooky, they were part of a long-standing tradition of interpreting the supernatural. Musically, the fiddle holds a special place in New Brunswick's remarkable heritage. Old-time fiddling was central to social gatherings, dances, and storytelling. The instrument itself is often seen as a conduit for emotion and memory. In this story, the fiddle becomes more than a tool for entertainment. It becomes a messenger, bridging the natural and supernatural worlds. Some folklorists suggest that stories like this one serve as cautionary tales, reinforcing respect for nature and the unknown. The logging camps were dangerous places, and the unpredictability of weather and terrain made every day a gamble. A tale like 3 Notes on a Fiddle adds a layer of mysticism to that reality, reminding workers to stay vigilant and humble. Whether you believe in forerunners or not, the tale of the fiddle's 3 notes lingers. It's a reminder of how deeply music and myth intertwine, and how even a simple melody can carry the weight of fate. If you ever find yourself in a quiet forest with a fiddle nearby, and you hear 3 notes played without a hand in sight, well, you might want to head for shelter. Our number 4 chilling story is the pirate ghost of Grand Manan. A tale that weaves together local folklore, natural eeriness, and personal testimony in ways that stir the imagination. The legend centers on Long Pond, a hauntingly quiet body of water tucked within Anchorage Provincial Park. The ghost said to haunt this area is a pirate dressed in a flowing coat, brandishing a large sword, and distinguished by an unusual round red nose. For decades, islanders have whispered accounts of unsettling sightings, lending the story both credibility and suspense. The most notable account comes from Vernon Bagley, a former game warden who was renowned for his courage and familiarity with the island's wilderness. One day, while observing wildlife at Long Pond, Bagley reportedly saw a ghostly figure walking across the water. What he described was not a shapeless apparition, but a fully formed pirate, striding silently as if the water held no resistance. Bagley attempted to speak calmly to the spectre, only to be answered with a deafening roar, likened to that of a lion. The ghost continued walking past him and vanished into the trees. Bagley later admitted the experience left him shaken. In a separate encounter, Bagley spoke to 2 young boys who had also seen the ghost. While enjoying a cookout near the pond, they were approached by the same pirate, who lifted their dropped hot dogs from the fire and curiously asked what they were. Overcome with fear, the boys fled to their father. Upon returning, the father caught a glimpse of the ghost himself, vanishing into the woods. Their description matched Bagley's precisely, down to the distinctive red nose and the sword. These sightings all happened before the park was officially opened to the public in the 1960s, when the area was a game reserve. Bagley had a cabin near Long Pond and enjoyed the solitude, at least until the ghost disrupted his peace. Even after the park's establishment, staff and visitors have reported strange sensations, an inexplicable sense of being watched, fleeting shadows, or rustling without wind. These recurring reports keep the legend alive and contribute to the island's reputation as a place where the paranormal feels just within reach. Grand Manan's history supports such supernatural tales. The island was once a safe harbor for smugglers and pirates, its foggy shores and hidden coves perfect for clandestine activity. Among the island's many stories, rumors of Captain Kidd's buried treasure near Money Cove fuel imaginations and draw those intrigued by the darker, more mysterious side of maritime history. The ghost of Long Pond, then, may well be a spectral holdover from this time, a pirate doomed to roam the shores he once pillaged. The environment itself adds to the mystique. Grand Manan is known for unpredictable fog, dense woods, and cliffs that seem to emerge from the sea like ancient sentinels. Long Pond, nestled among trees and marshes, becomes particularly eerie during early morning or twilight. Witnesses often describe the ghost appearing when the light is low and the mist thick, heightening the sense of isolation and uncertainty. Locals have long embraced the story, passing it down through generations as both warning and wonder. Some believe the ghost guards treasure. Others think he simply relives a tragic end. While some residents dismiss it as mere storytelling, others quietly admit to seeing things they cannot explain. The tale lives in both whispers and printed collections, its details consistent enough to intrigue skeptics and believers alike. Today, visitors to Anchorage Provincial Park walk the trails that wind near Long Pond, hoping for a glimpse or simply soaking in the ambience that gave rise to this enduring legend. Whether the ghost is real or metaphorical, a reflection of collective memory or genuine haunting, it remains one of the most gripping stories of Grand Manan, an island where the past lingers just beneath the surface. At number 3, chilling folklore from the southwest part of the province. Nestled in Charlotte County, New Brunswick, Lake Utopia is home to one of Canada's lesser-known cryptids, the Lake Utopia Monster, affectionately dubbed Old Ned. This mysterious creature has been part of local folklore for centuries, with stories predating European settlement. Indigenous legends, particularly from the Mi'kmaq and Wolastoq peoples, tell of canoeists being chased across the lake by a massive aquatic beast, an origin tale that laid the foundation for generations of sightings and speculation. The earliest documented encounter dates back to the late 1700s, when native hunters reportedly fled from a gigantic creature while paddling across the lake. As settlers arrived, tales of Old Ned spread quickly, sparking curiosity and fear. By the mid-1800s, the legend had gained traction, with multiple sightings reported by sawmill workers in 1867. They described an eel-like creature rolling through the water, measuring up to 30 feet long. The following year, a journalist claimed to have seen the monster while fishing, and Harper's Weekly even published an illustration of the beast, depicting it as a shark-like creature with dog-like legs. Descriptions of Old Ned vary widely. Some witnesses say it has a horse-sized head, a mouthful of bloody teeth, and a long, undulating body covered in dark red scales. Others describe it as eel-like, surfacing like a submarine before vanishing beneath the waves. One theory suggests the creature could be a giant eel, or even a basking shark whose twin claspers might have been mistaken for legs. Another posits that Old Ned is a prehistoric water mammal or an undiscovered cetacean. Skeptics, of course, lean toward the idea of misidentification or pure imagination. Sightings have occurred in cycles, often every 3 to 5 years, leading some to speculate that the creature follows a breeding or feeding pattern. In 1982, a paper mill worker saw a large creature surface and spill water down its sides. In 1996, canoeists followed a 30 to 40-foot creature swimming just below the surface, noting its vertical movement, unusual for eels, which typically swim side to side. Despite the vivid accounts, no physical evidence has ever been found. There are no photographs, no carcasses, and no definitive proof of Old Ned's existence. Locals like Jack Kelson recall childhood memories of seeing a dragon-tailed creature in the lake, while others, like his cousin Earl Hatt, claim to have seen it more than once. These stories are passed down through generations, keeping the legend alive even as sightings have dwindled since the 1990s. Environmental changes may have contributed to the decline in sightings. The construction of dams and fish ladders in the 1980s altered the lake's ecosystem, potentially limiting the movement of large aquatic animals. Some believe that if Old Ned was real, it may have been a migratory creature that could no longer access the lake due to these barriers. Others suggest that increased human activity and development around the lake may have driven the creature into hiding or extinction. Cryptozoologists have taken an interest in Old Ned, with mentions in books like The Field Guide to Lake Monsters, Sea Serpents, and Other Mystery Denizens of the Deep. While not as famous as Loch Ness's Nessie or British Columbia's Ogopogo, Old Ned has carved out a niche in Canadian folklore. The lack of recent sightings hasn't dampened enthusiasm among believers, who continue to share stories and speculate about the creature's nature and whereabouts. Ultimately, the Lake Utopia Monster remains a captivating mystery. Whether a misunderstood animal, a relic of prehistoric times, or a figment of collective imagination, Old Ned has become an enduring symbol of the unknown. The legend adds a layer of intrigue to Lake Utopia, drawing curious visitors and fueling local pride. And who knows, perhaps one spring morning, when the ice begins to thaw and the mist rolls across the water, Old Ned will rise again. The legend of the Headless Nun is one of Canada's most chilling and enduring ghost stories, rooted in the misty woods of French Fort Cove, located in Miramichi, New Brunswick. The tale centers around a nun named Sister Marie Inconnue, her surname meaning unknown in French, who lived during the mid-18th century, a time of intense conflict between the British and the French over control of Canadian territory. Sister Marie was a compassionate figure, reportedly sent from France to care for the Acadian settlers who had been displaced during the British expulsion. She was known for her devotion to the sick and poor, and according to some versions of the story, she was entrusted with a secret fund to aid struggling families. Fearing British raids, the Acadians buried their valuables and told Sister Marie the location, trusting her to keep it secret. The tragedy unfolded one night in 1758, when Sister Marie was returning from helping a woman through childbirth. As she passed through the cove, she was attacked. The details of her untimely demise vary. Some say a mad trapper beheaded her and fled into the woods with her head. Others claim 2 sailors killed her after she refused to reveal the location of the hidden treasure. Regardless of the version, the ending remains the same. Her body was found the next day, but her head was missing. Her body was eventually returned to France, but her spirit, according to legend, remained in Miramichi, unable to rest until her head is reunited with her body. Since then, countless locals and visitors have reported eerie encounters at French Fort Cove. Some claim to have seen a headless figure wandering the woods, especially under a full moon. Others say she appears carrying her severed head, pleading for help to bury it properly. The haunting has become a cultural fixture in the region. Author Doug Underhill, who grew up in Miramichi and wrote Miramichi Tales Tall and True, researched the legend extensively and believes there's enough historical context to support its authenticity. He notes that the story helps preserve the area's heritage and has inspired local theater groups to host Headless Nun tours, dramatizing the events for curious tourists. One particularly spine-tingling account comes from Thomas Daly, co-founder of the theater company Character Matters Miramichi. While telling the story during a tour, Daly claims he saw a phantom hand emerge from the mist, reaching toward the back of his head. Another man reportedly developed 3 white patches of hair after being touched by the ghost, which some attributed to the nun's spectral presence. The atmosphere of French Fort Cove itself adds to the mystique. The area, once home to a sawmill and stone quarry, is filled with jagged ledges, dripping trees, and nocturnal wildlife. Visitors often describe the setting as something out of a Tim Burton film, with its eerie sounds and haunting visuals, enhancing the supernatural vibe. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the story of the Headless Nun continues to captivate imaginations. It's a tale of tragedy, mystery, and unresolved sorrow, one that blends historical conflict with folklore and keeps the spirit of Sister Marie Inconnue alive in the whispers of the wind and the shadows of the cove. Would you dare to visit French Fort Cove at night? We truly hope you're enjoying our travel series. Please like and subscribe, and consider becoming a member for early access to new videos and more. And finally, our #1 chilling New Brunswick folklore legend. The legend of the Dungarvon Whooper is one of New Brunswick's most spine-chilling ghost stories, deeply rooted in the folklore of the Miramichi region. It centers around a young Irish cook named Ryan, who was hired to work in a remote lumber camp along the Dungarvon River. Ryan was known for his cheerful demeanor, his powerful morning whoops to wake the loggers, and a money belt he wore openly, stuffed with coins and bills, the source of which he never disclosed. One winter day, while the lumberjacks were out working in the woods, Ryan was left alone with the camp boss. When the crew returned, they found Ryan dead. The boss claimed he had suddenly fallen ill and died, but the money belt was missing. Suspicion brewed among the men, but fearing the boss's authority and the harsh conditions, they buried Ryan in a shallow grave in the forest. That night, a violent storm swept through the camp, and with it came terrifying screams and whoops, sounds so dreadful they chilled the bones of even the toughest woodsman. The haunting sounds continued for days, and the men, driven mad with fear, abandoned the camp. The ghostly cries were said to echo through the forest, especially at night, and became known as the Dungarvon Whooper. The legend was immortalized in a song written by Michael Whelan in 1912, set to the tune of where the silvery Colorado wends its way. Wieland's ballad captured the sorrow, mystery, and terror of Ryan's fate, and helped cement the story in maritime folklore. Over time, the legend evolved. Some claimed the ghost was not just heard, but seen, an apparition wandering the woods, sometimes accompanied by the smell of frying bacon, as if Ryan was still cooking in the afterlife. Others believed the ghost was trying to lure his murderer back to the scene of the crime. The screams were so persistent that Father Edward Murdoch, a priest from Renus, was called to perform an exorcism at the site now known as Whooper Spring. Though some say the ritual quieted the spirit, others insist the cries can still be heard. In the late 1800s, the legend took a strange turn. Reports emerged of a creature known as the Whooper, haunting the forests near Clearwater Brook. Witnesses described it as a man-like figure that walked upright and emitted blood-curdling screams. One man, George Scott, claimed to have been chased by it and later found his coat inside a series of caves believed to be its lair. These caves were eventually flooded, and the screams ceased, only to reappear years later near the Dungarvon River. Modern interpretations of the legend suggest that the Whooper may not have been a ghost at all, but a hermit or fugitive living in the woods, stealing food from camps and terrifying locals with his cries. However, the supernatural version remains dominant, especially in local storytelling and tourism. The Dungarvon Whooper experience, a guided lantern-lit walk through Blackville Municipal Park, invites brave souls to retrace the steps of Ryan and his ill-fated camp, blending history with theatrical suspense. Today, the legend lives on in songs, carvings, and whispered tales around campfires. A wood sculpture of Ryan stands in Blackville, New Brunswick, missing its frying pan, perhaps stolen by the ghost himself. Locals still report hearing the Whooper's cries at dusk, echoing through the trees like a mournful warning. Whether ghost, beast, or man, the Dungarvon Whooper remains one of Canada's most enduring and eerie mysteries. Would you dare to walk those woods at night? This is Daniel Jones, saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you on our next adventure on Wander, Explore, Repeat.